very short notice, who we don't know a lot about, other than that time we saw him earlier this year, Stephen Foster battering him from pillar to post. He did go the distance, despite being floored twice and having a point taken off and losing 60-51. So Miguel Aguilar has got a little bit of determination about him, but whether that's going to be enough to get him through against Scotty Cardle remains to be seen.
Cardle is very sharp in everything that he does. His movements are sharp, his punching is sharp, good defence. You know, he drops his hands a little bit, relies on his reflexes to get him out of trouble, but you just see the way he slipped a punch there, come back with a counter. Lovely technique.
Like Yafai, another good amateur who was banging on the door of Olympic selection, and when the knock didn't come, he decided he too would turn pro. Based out of Lytham, but still has his Scottish accent. His brother Joe plays for Dunfermline Athletic. Again, clever stuff from Cardle.
I mean, Aguilar does have a fair idea of the game. He knows what he's about. But just the speed, the sharpness of Cardle, he's not coping with that this early. Maybe he'll get to grips with it, maybe he'll tighten his defences up, but he just can't believe how quickly these punches are coming at him.
Did get through with a left-hand counter there, Aguilar, but as you say, just getting picked off here. Interesting character, Miguel Aguilar. He, from Nicaragua, and boxed in Nicaragua and Mexico, and was building up a very nice record until he lost about a year ago in Mexico and said, right, that's it, and up sticks and moved to Barcelona. And he's had limited success, to say the least. Boiled himself down to 8 stone 3, goodness knows how, and got wiped out by Stefan Jamoy, who was a Jamie McDonald victim in a battle for the European bantamweight title. Looks a bit happier at this weight.
Some nice moves there from Cardle. You know, showing little feints, drawing the leads from Aguilar, but pinning with the counters. That's lovely. That is lovely stuff. You can maybe worry a little bit about the way he drops his hands, but these are things maybe as he goes along, he can maybe tighten things up. He's getting away with it. He's so quick. And really impressive little sharp-looking punches that he's throwing. Good
reflexes as well. It's the reflexes that are letting him get away with this at the moment. Look at that, confident. You mentioned Yafai having a bit of swagger about him. This fella has too as well. Just on the right side of being cocky. Very engaging character, very friendly. And then put him in the ring and watch him go to work.
See, he's got a good upper body movement. So Aguilar's never quite sure when the jab is coming. You know, little feints and moves, and then he just snaps the punch out without any warning. That excellent opening round for Cardle.
Escúchame una cosa, dóblame la izquierda, porque la primera, cuando tiras la primera, el tío hace así, pam, le dobla la izquierda, pam, pam, y luego, pam, le mete la derecha. Verás cómo se la traga, ¿vale? Me está trabajando el chaval. Jab to the head, and then jab head, shoot it straight back, hand to the body, right? Jab head, shoot it straight and roll your head after it, and come under that left hook then, and then you'll be able to counter him. So when you go boom boom, roll and come under it, and then drop the right hand there on the side, yeah? So jab to the head, right hand to the body, roll your head, and you'll come under his left hook. Jab to the head? Yeah. Okay. And, yeah, okay, you got that. When he switches southpaw, boom, let the right hook go. He's not a proper southpaw, he's southpaw into it.
Now look at the accuracy there. Didn't waste anything in the opening round. Picked some lovely punches, lovely moves, took virtually nothing.
Round 2 of this 8-rounder. Scotty Cardle in the black trunks. Miguel Aguilar from Nicaragua via Barcelona. He's boxing out of the southpaw stance, but is switching in and out from southpaw to orthodox. Just trying to sow the seeds of confusion. Those seeds are falling on barren ground at the moment because Cardle looks anything but confused. Little right hand to the body. Cardle. Oh, that was better from Aguilar. And again, a decent counter, just drawing Cardle in. Decent little spell this for Aguilar. Let's see if he can keep it going. He's managed to block a couple of shots, draw a couple of leads.
Yeah, well, I think he was caught by surprise by the speed of Cardle's punches early in the opening round, so maybe he's coming to grips with that. But now he lost his way there.
Yeah, it's just as you say that. Cardle just retuned the radar. Now it's Aguilar missing. But Cardle at least being made to think here. He's just not walking through this fella.
No, he's boxing well, Cardle, but maybe eventually he's going to have to settle down a little bit, because it's difficult to put punches together in combinations when there's so much movement, you know, with your feet and your upper body. So eventually he'll settle down a little bit, probably in the second half of longer fights. But what he's doing at the moment is perfect. The head's nearly coming together there.
Cardle switching downstairs. Ooh, low little push. And he just sort of drew the punch back there. Aguilar is still getting a little bit of a warning from Sean Messer, but he didn't follow through with that. It would have been very low indeed. Got a bit ragged here in this second round, the longer it's gone on.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit more head movement from Aguilar, and I think that's the difference. He was kind of standing, looking straight back at Cardle earlier on, taking the jabs, taking the shots, so he's a bit more difficult to catch cleanly now. He's working quite well now, Aguilar.
That was better from Cardle in the last few seconds of the round. Landed a combination. Right hand, right on the bell, and Aguilar was forced to hold there.
Alright, beautiful. Like you said, all he's got is a couple of rounds in him. Alright, you just keep using your boxing, keep your feinting, and don't get caught of anything, alright? Every time you're hitting him, you're hurting him, alright? Okay? But don't go rushing in, you're seeing over right hand, you come over left up counter, getting the feints coming. And when you push him to the rope, son, and you head up, you just got to go downstairs, son. Alright? Hit him and go downstairs. And if he tries to claim you, step back, keep space yourself, and drive the uppercut up. Alright? Okay? Use Bien.
Filling up nicely here in Nottingham as we get ready
10 seconds.
for Carl Froch a little bit later on, but Scotty Cardle has to deal with Miguel Aguilar before that.
Yeah, another good round from Cardle. Aguilar trying to find some answers, some upper body movement himself. But Cardle boxing nicely.
Well, so far, Aguilar's second trip to the UK is proving a little bit more successful than his previous outing back in April, when Stephen Foster had him all over the place, down twice. Winning every round of that one. Foster, by the way, fighting for the British title against Gary Buckland at super featherweight fairly soon. And super featherweight is a weight that Joe Gallagher, Cardle's trainer, thinks that his man might be able to campaign at some point.
Yeah, he's a bit more flat-footed now, Cardle, as though he wants a bit more snap into the punches, more business-like, not so much wasted movement. This is good.
Getting through with the left, but not the follow-up right. And then Aguilar saw the second left jab coming and blocked that off. Really having to think about this, Cardle. It really was as if Aguilar needed that first round, isn't it, Jim, just to sort of get himself going, get the motor running.
Yeah, well, he was trying to find some answers in the second round, you know, moving his own head a little bit more, trying to get his punches off first, but he seems to have lost his way a little bit now. At the start of this round, he's looking a little bit pedestrian. So he's going to have to sharpen things up, not getting the punches off quickly enough. And that was a second prize for him at the moment.
Getting one of those jabs through again. Boxing very defensively now. Aguilar and hurt again. As Cardle just lunged in. Cardle's got to watch frustration here, as Sean Messer has a little word about use of the head. Because it's very easy to get dragged down to an opponent's level, and Cardle's got to make sure he doesn't allow himself to be drawn into anything here. Just stick with his game plan.
Yeah, the little signs here as though Aguilar feels he's done the best he can do in the second round, didn't make an impression, and he's just kind of lost ambition a little bit. This is good stuff from Cardle.
A couple of right hands had Aguilar hanging on for dear life there, and he's going to claim he was pushed down. He wasn't, he just went down under his own steam there. He was clearly shaken up by those two right hands. And Cardle knows that he can hurt his man. Can he put his man down? Can he stop him?
Well, he has the job half done already, because Aguilar does not look too keen now, and he's looking back to his corner, you know, making faces over Cardle's shoulder, so don't think there's much ambition left in there.
Oh, he's grabbing on like a limpet every time Cardle lands a punch, and just about gets through the round, but he looks like a man who doesn't want to be there.
Una cosa, Miguel. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Just put threes and fours. When you put your shoulders, just going 1, 2, boom, boom, bang. Boom, boom, boom.
Not a good end to the round for Miguel Aguilar. He really was sending out the distress flares here, Jim.
Yep, I think he's had the fight knocked out of him in the third round there. I mean, right from the off, you know, he lacked ambition, and he was under pressure at the end of the round. So we'll see if maybe the corner can shake something out of him in between rounds there.
And Scotty Cardle will know that Stephen Foster couldn't put this fella away. So if he can, that will be a good performance, given that Foster's fighting for the British super featherweight title soon.
Well, you saw in the previous round that Cardle was looking more flat-footed, as though he was setting himself to get the power into the shots, and you saw the difference that made, and he's picked it up from where he left off here. Hurtful punches. That was a terrific right hand. Yeah, there goes another one.
And patience, Jim, as well. That's what's impressed me. Good body shot, right hand into the midsection there. A lot of boxers would have really struggled with this fella's spoiling and holding, but Cardle's kept his focus and concentration, and just stuck to his job.
Yeah, but just needs to keep giving himself some room. Just don't get too close, because it's survival tactics now from Aguilar. Just been warned by the referee there, so just don't get too close. Just give yourself some room to let the punches go, and this doesn't have to go on much longer.
Aguilar had a point deducted for holding, persistent holding against Stephen Foster back in April in Oldham. See another one coming off here if this carries on much longer.
And Cardle just looks naturally so much bigger too, bigger and stronger. So I think Aguilar is just maybe settling for second place now. We just wonder how long there is a little buckle in his legs there.
There's another buckle at the legs, and he's just dipping as that left hook got through. And still all coming back with something though. Is that a last hurrah? He certainly gave it a go there and caught Cardle.
Yeah, and then walked onto an uppercut himself. But no, I mean, he's nothing left. You can see the body language here. A young man who just doesn't want to be there anymore. I think this is a point coming now.
Well, it had to come, didn't it? No surprise. But with the heads boring in, there's always the danger of a bit of damage around the eyes. And that's exactly what Scott Cardle has sustained.
See, that's the problem when you keep putting fighters under pressure. You know, they do awkward things. and the heads are going to come together. And this is good stuff from Cardle.
Wobbling again, but then smiling. Aguilar. So is this a bit of kidology going on, or is he ready to go?
He's rubbing the forearm and the heel of the glove and the eye there. This could be another point. The referee maybe hasn't spotted that, but that was a little bit cynical, that move. Oh, good shot.
It really was, just rocking him back. Cardle might be just getting angry now, which might not be a bad thing. That was a rough old round. Again, Aguilar looking a little bit shaky at times, but the heads came together, and it was Cardle that came off the worst.
Yeah, we'll see if I can get a look at the cut. No panic in the corner, obviously. But another terrific round from Cardle, and the straight right through the middle. Even when he leads with it without the jab, you can see it shaking Aguilar down to his boots. But the body language here, I mean, Aguilar really doesn't want to be there. So you couldn't blame him. He's had enough warnings, so a point deduction was always on the cards. The referee's over having a little chat in the corner at the moment. But yeah, he just looks as though he's sold out. Then just when you think he's ready to go, he comes back with a little burst. So job not over yet.
Seconds out, round 5.
Well, officially ruled an accidental head clash. Well, as we're in the 5th round, this one won't be stopped. It'll go to the cards if Cardle can't continue, but at the moment that cut doesn't look too bad anyway. I don't think we have to worry about that. I'm sure Cardle is just thinking, get this fella out of here. That's going to be easier said than done. Well, there's perhaps a little sign of frustration. I said he was showing good patience in the last round. Just getting a little ticking off there for just pushing on. But this is one of those learning fights we talk about for young prospects.
Yeah, I think Cardle will be annoyed with the cut, because it wouldn't surprise me maybe if they're thinking about having him out again in 3 weeks' time, so that'll probably put paid to that. So there's maybe a little bit of annoyance in his boxing, maybe a little bit of spite.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of that.
He's just trying to manoeuvre Aguilar back to the ropes.
Good right hand again. Followed up with the left. Aguilar took it well. No dip at the knees this time. He's a slippery customer, isn't he? Not much coming from him offensively here, Aguilar, but still making life very difficult for Scotty Cardle.
Yeah, he's sticking with the southpaw stance at the moment. Good work there from Cardle.
And again, as the pressure comes on, out comes the limpet.
See, I don't think Aguilar's bothered much about another point coming off. I think he's pretty much realised he's not in this as far as points are concerned. I just think he's trying to hang on in there, but he doesn't seem to have a lot to offer, not a lot of ambition in what he's doing.
He'll certainly want to get through it, though, because he had a fight lined up in Poland next month before he took this one at short notice. He really is getting around the continent this year since coming over.
Every time they come close, Aguilar's hands are round behind. Just trying to waste time whenever he gets the chance.
They're doing it very effectively. And again, there he is.
Yes, it's turning into a kind of frustrating night for Cardle. He wants to do the job properly. Maybe needs just a little bit more power in these punches, just to shake Aguilar up a little bit. He's maybe just not stepping in enough with him. A little bit more snap to just knock the ambition out of this fellow.
Inseguro, porque sabe que está herido, ¿me entiendes? ¿Me entiendes o no me entiendes? Vale, vamos a trabajar eso, no te vuelvas loco. No me tires 2 o 3 manos, tírame solamente una, pero asegúrala. Vamos a trabajar la herida, no te canses. Si te agarras, no hagas fuerza, déjate llevar. No hagas fuerza, déjalo que te lleve, ¿vale? Déjalo que te lleve, no hagas fuerza, ninguna fuerza, no quiero que gastes ninguna caloría, ¿vale? ¿Vamos bien?
Well, a frustrating night so far for Scotty Cardle, but I guess he just needs to look at the scorecard, and when he sees those numbers, he'll know he's comfortably ahead.
Seconds out.
But you just get the feeling that Cardle wants a bit more out of this one, and it's been tough going in his first 8-rounder against a guy who came in at very short notice, literally. Miguel Aguilar turned up at Barcelona airport yesterday morning, forgot his passport, had to go home, had to put him on a later flight. He got in late last night, but he's awake enough here to make life very difficult for Scotty Cardle. Cardle continuing, though, to try and batter his way through and find something. And whenever he does, you know Aguilar will grab hold of him. And a lot of these punches are getting blocked by Aguilar. Enough of getting through, though, that you'd think, well, maybe Cardle should be trying to just put the foot to the floor a little bit here and just see how this fella copes under intense pressure.
There's a couple of things that he's going to have to do to increase the power in his punches, Cardle. Maybe shorten the straight right so that you can come back with a short left hook. I mean, it's a good move, the straight right lead, and then coming back with put all the power into the left hook. But he has to shorten it. He's thrown it at full range, so he's too far away to get purchase into that hook. But he's boxing well, putting punches together nicely. But I just think that there's a look about him that he knows that he can produce a little bit better than this. Yeah, you see there, you can see he's annoyed there. I think he was annoyed when the eye damage happened, and now just becoming a little bit frustrated with this fellow.
Decent right hand. Can he keep the pressure going? Taking some chances here and risking going toe-to-toe. Well, I think Scotty Cardle's had enough of all this and starting to get through now. Now, can he keep this pressure on?
Well, if you can't do it with power, do it with volume, and that's what he's doing now. Just let the punches go, and you leave the referee with no option but to step in and stop it. So if he can keep this tempo, keep this pace, he can well get the stoppage that he's looking for.
Caught with a little counter. In there from Aguilar, as if to say, I'll take the best you've got, you can't bother me.
See, the longer these fellas are in there, then the tougher it is to shift them. In the early stages, if you can knock the ambition out of them, then there's a long way to go, and they can't talk themselves into staying on in there. But we're in the 6th round now, only another couple to go. So it's tough now to get him out of there. He knows the job's almost done. So the spoiling tactics, the buying time, he'll pull up all the dodges. So Cardle wants the stoppage, he's going to have to start moving on it now, this round coming up.
Let's see if Joe Gallagher's going to vary the game plan a little bit.
Yeah. Good. There's shots are over. All right, what you got to do then, jab. Keep saying.
Now that's a good looking right hand there. See, I'm just feeling if that right hand was a little bit shorter, if we stepped a little bit closer with it and get power into a following left hook, bang, if he could just come back with a left hook from that point. No trouble finding the target, he has the accuracy. That one just landed a little bit high, maybe. And he has up the pace, which I think is required. Maybe what he needs to do is give the referee a reason to step in, just set the pace, keep it going, and just use the volume of punches to get this fellow under control.
Well, it's not Cardle that's going to give the referee an excuse to step in, potentially, Jim. It could be Aguilar himself, because Sean Messer went into the corner and just said, any more of this nonsense, I'm going to throw you out of there. We saw it, he gave him a little warning in the last round when he pointed in the direction of the dressing rooms. I think Sean Messer, not an appropriate name for a referee of this fight, I think he's just about seen enough. So He's on thin ice here, Aguilar.
Yeah, well, I think the only ambition Aguilar has at the moment is to hear that final bell. And I don't suppose you can blame him. He's here to put up a show. He's done that for part of the action. Some of it's been a little bit scrappy. So we'll see what Cardle can come up with now.
Tried the uppercut a couple of times, Cardle, with limited success. And again, keeping those gloves up high here, Aguilar, just looking to frustrate. Not seeing any sign of any of the holding in this round, but that's because Cardle hasn't shaken him up at all.
I mean, also on the plus side, I mean, it's an 8-rounder, Cardle's first 8-rounder, and it looks as though it's going to go the 8 rounds, so there's nothing wrong with that either, getting that 8 rounds under your belt, and he's pretty much dominated, set a good pace in every round. Just little signs of frustration here and there.
It's clever from Aguilar. Tough night for Scotty Cardle. An opponent against whom it's difficult to look good. Decent right hand, but Aguilar said, I'll have a bit more of that, so he gets a left for his pains.
See, that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to step in and get some volume of punches. He landed flush with the right hand. He's not going to put this guy out of there with the power of a single shot, so he's going to have to move in, stay in, and just let the volume of punches go. Let them go in bursts.
There is a bit of toughness about Aguilar. Remember that fight with Stephen Foster back in April? On the floor a couple of times, got up. Foster couldn't put him away. And again, just a grimace from Scotty Cardle. I think he's just about had enough of this fella.
Well, he hasn't been doing anything silly, Cardle. I mean, a couple of signs of frustrations, but he's kept his boxing together. A cool head. But you can see he so badly wants to score the stoppage here. Big stage here tonight. But this will do him no harm whatsoever.
Good work again. And he just slipped inside that one, Aguilar, and as he just had Cardle on the ropes, there's a big, big smile from the Nicaraguan. That tells you everything you need to know from a fella who was looking a little bit shaky 3 or 4 rounds ago. He's in a comfort zone now, Aguilar.
Side of the head, top of the head, back of the rib anyway.
Listen, you lovely boxing, you came out and did what I said. You off the front shoulder. Every time you jabbed, you slipped on that side corner with the left up right hand. Next time you came inside, you got...
Yeah, still seeing nice little bits of technique from Cardle, slipping the punches. Coming back with nice counter. That was bang on flush. So if that right hand is not going to shift this fellow, then Cardle's not going to do it with one punch. Just have to accept that. And to be honest, obviously this looks as though it's going to go the 8 rounds, which in the long term will do no harm whatsoever.
Well, Joe Gallagher, the trainer of Scotty Cardle, was accentuating the positives there. I think that was the right thing to do, because Scotty Cardle will be disappointed with this performance, no question about that. You get a bit of a platform, you're live on television, you want to put on a show, and Miguel Aguilar has just not let him do it.
Aguilar was hurt by that right hand. He's complaining, he's not happy, he's pulling faces. Now is the time for Cardle to step up now.
And has he let him off the hook? Again, Aguilar manages to get in close and hold. Cardle tries to stay with him, throwing punches. But just look at Aguilar clinging on like a bit of ivy up a tree there at the moment. And this is pantomime stuff here. Sean Messer's Spanish, limited to no mas. We all understand that.
Well, Cardle certainly hurt Aguilar with that right hand, and he was pulling faces for some time after that. So he showed there that maybe he does have the power to get him out of there with one punch.
And certainly Aguilar, all he's going to do now is try and hang on and survive, literally. this time Cardle getting told off. Stop retaliating. So hard to look good against an opponent like this. It's worth stressing. Having said that, Cardle, I think, will be disappointed with his performance tonight as we get yet another telling off and another point coming off. There can be no arguments about that.
I mean, I don't know if there's too much reason to be disappointed. I mean, it's not Cardle's fault. Cardle's boxed well, but he's just been in with a frustrating opponent who wasn't trying really to win anything. Now shaking him up again with a shot.
And again, he clings on. Survival, the name of the game for Aguilar here as we get down to the last minute. You know, it's not been a great one when you're talking about the referee, and he's earned his money tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, Aguilar didn't bring an awful lot of ambition over, and whatever he did bring over was knocked out of him pretty early, so from that point on, it's been frustrating for Cardle. But I think for most of the piece, he's done well, he's coped with it well.
And it's worth re-emphasising here, and this is not to sort of try and put any false gloss on this. It's all about learning when you've only had 7 fights. You've got to learn. He'll take an awful lot from this, Jim.
Yeah, this will do him a lot more good than a 1 or 2 round blast out, that's for sure. He would have liked to have looked better, I'm sure. But he's got the job done, he's got it done well. Pretty much a shutout, won every round.
And catches him again, but there goes the final bell. Aguilar got through it, which was the extent of his ambition. Scotty Cardle will get an extremely wide points decision. And that one is not going to live long in the memory. But all that matters is getting the result. And there's no doubt about that as we look at the stats that Scotty Cardle will take this one. I had him winning every round, Jim, for what it's worth.
Yeah, every round and a couple of points deductions. So 8-round fight, I would imagine he's won it by 10 points. And as we say, probably he didn't look as good as he would like to have looked on such a big stage tonight, but it's through no fault of his own. He found himself facing a real awkward customer. He landed some good shots, he boxed well all the way through, kept a cool head for most of the time, but eventually just became total frustration, and I'm sure he's glad to see the end of it.
I'm sure he is. He's not the only one. Well, they're trying to Sean Messer. I mean, right up till the announcement, Miguel Aguilar is proving difficult. Well, they finally got him over there, and we can finally hear the scorecard and put this one to bed.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, check one. Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing, referee Sean Messer has scored this contest for Aguilars 70 points. For Cardle, 80 points, your winner, he's still undefeated from Lytham, England, Scotty Cardle.
Win number 8 for Scotty Cardle, man from Lytham St Anne's, first time over 8 rounds. Joe Gallagher getting the photos, one for the scrapbook. For Scotty Cardle, former member of Team GB, registering win number 8. Didn't get the knockout he wanted though, tried his best. A little bit of a cut as well. Will that cause him problems if he wants to fight again in the next few weeks? Let's find out. He's ringside talking to Ed Robinson.
Well, Scotty, a little bit of a frustrating night for you and cut as well. How do you feel you coped with the problems set this evening?
Well, I thought what I was expecting for, but I wasn't expecting so frustrating really. I kept my cool in ways, but that's the thing, like, I've been cut before, and I had a feeling that was going to happen because he was rubbing his head a lot. But yeah, I felt like I managed that as well as I could have. Once I just said to Eddie there, that's part of the learning, and I'm glad I've had them 8 rounds at the end of the day.
The referee took 2 points off. Do you think he maybe should have disqualified Aguilar?
I'm pretty happy he never, to be fair, because obviously I'm happy with the 8 rounds.
Handled the pace well as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If I was watching it, I think, yeah, I'd be shouting at the TV saying, get him disqualified, but I'm glad I got the 8 rounds done and I was made up with it.
Trainer Joe Gallagher, how do you assess that performance? Scotty's got this style, he drops his hands a bit, which invites attack, but are you happy with his progress?
Yeah, like I say, it's his 8th fight in 8 months. He's got the 8 wins there, and like I say, over 8 rounds. Bit frustrating. Scott sometimes was coming in a little bit high, sometimes lifting his chin up. He had the kid on Quay Street quite a few times. It was just them finishing. I think Scott was looking for the Hollywood shot tonight, and it didn't come. And if he would have just dressed it up a little bit, he might have got it and gone downstairs. But he was an awkward kid, the kid, and listen, I don't think the kid came to win. He came to survive, didn't he?
Promoter Eddie Hearn, it's all about learning though, isn't it, at this stage in his career?
It is, and the way you learn his activity, 8 fights in 8 months. It's going to kill him to say, but that cut doesn't look like he's going to be out on December the 8th, but, you know, we'll have a look at that. But 3 weeks, I was hoping for 9 in 9. But, you know, it's all about learning. Great 8 rounds under the belt, and, you know, these kids we got now, Callum Smith, Martin Ward, Cal Yafai, Ian Weaver, Scotty Cardle, the future of the game in Britain. And, you know, he's a great, great talent. Terrible tash, but great talent.
Well done.
Done his bit for Movember. It is a dodgy tash, you're right there. Scotty Cardle, he was looking for the Hollywood punch apparently, Glenn.
He was, you know, I mean there's a lot to like about Scotty Cardle, you know, and he's making very good progress and he's getting the experience he wants. At times he does things